Leavers conference video, roll 1, scene 1, take 2. Hey everyone. So my name is Chance. Hopefully some of you remember me or still remember me. I was the ALT in Kochi Prefecture in Tosayamada from 2018 to 2022, so about 4 years. Actually, I heard from Cherish and the others that you guys were having your Leavers conference and that she wanted me to answer some questions for her. And I thought I'd do this very elaborate, overproduced video for you guys. So I'm going to answer some of these questions and hopefully you guys are able to get something from it. Originally for me, I was trying my hardest to stay in Japan. I was doing tons and tons of job hunting, job searching. I was on many different job boards. I even went to a couple interviews, literally flew out to Tokyo once for an on-site interview with a company. A lot of them didn't go through. Some of the offers I got were pretty mediocre at best. But the ultimate thing that made me decide to end up not staying was I got an opportunity that was placed in front of me by a longtime friend. This friend who was in the commercial video production business. He was making videos, commercials, animation, all that kind of stuff, and he wanted to branch out, do some more stuff, and needed the extra help. And it gave me the opportunity to come in and start a business with him. So I would have the opportunity and the experience of creating my own business, running my own business, and owning my own business. And that was just an opportunity that I really couldn't say no to, because even though I really wanted to stay in Japan, all of my friends are in Japan, and all of the friends that I really care about are in Japan. All of the things that I consider so cherished in my lifestyle and in my livelihood, all were pretty much in Japan. And I was really going to miss that. But for me, at least, I was at a point in time in my career and in the span of my career that I had the opportunity to expand on that. I didn't just want to be teaching English in Japan, which, if depending on how the trajectory was going, that might have been the case. I wanted the opportunity to take my creative skills, my video production skills, and a lot of the other creative outlets that I've been trying to pursue and actually do it in a real world setting where I can gain some valuable experience. And then I could put that experience and try to get back to Japan. The end goal would be to use the experience I gained here to go back to Japan in a few years. My goal still is about 3.5 years from now, 4 years from now, I want to be back in Japan. And I wanted to use this opportunity to help make that happen. I'm still studying Japanese. I've been studying for the N1, and I'm hoping with all these other experiences and other experience with working with other things that I can use that as leverage to then help build a career that I want to have once I return to Japan. Knowing that and having that in mind, I realized that leaving Japan would be the best thing for me to do and would be the best thing for my future, I believe. And that was kind of what cemented the idea. I talked a lot with friends and with family about what I should do, and response was almost unanimous in the sense that I should pursue the thing I want to pursue. Place is very important, but we're still young. We have a lot of energy still left within us. I wouldn't say that about myself personally, but I know I still have things that I can do. And so I want to at least give myself the chance to do it. And that's why I chose to leave. Not without regrets, not without constantly thinking about if I made the right decision, if I royally messed up somehow, I gave up a lot, but I made that decision and now I'm just doing my best to follow through with it. For me, leaving JET and leaving Japan as a whole has been quite difficult. I'm not going to lie. I've been dealing with the reverse culture shock for close to half a year now, and it still, in many ways, hasn't subsided. I've had a very difficult time reintegrating, to be perfectly honest. I left so much back home, or I'm even saying it back home. I've left so much back in Japan. I left so much behind, all of my friends there that I care so much about. I've left the community that was there. Having to part ways with that, even though I'm hoping it's only temporary, has been very difficult. And also a lot of the lifestyle that I had there, I haven't been able to emulate that here in the US. I haven't been able to have the same kind of experiences back here at home than I was able to have back in Japan. And that's just more motivation for me to study harder and try to make whatever I'm doing work, so I can be able to go back to that, because that has been the most challenging thing, is just dealing with all of that. Being on JET was the first time I truly felt like I was an adult. Some people say that'd be college. For a lot of people, that's college and university, and when they got to be independent and be on their own, be an adult, make their own decisions. Sure, I had that when I was at uni, but being halfway across the world from my family and friends back in the States, that was the first time I really could say I was out on my own. And coming back to the US has kind of been an inversion of that. I'm sure I'm up here in rural California. I'm a 5-hour drive away from my family and from my old friends, but it has a different taste in your mouth. And it has a different weight on you than being completely independent of all of that. That has been the most challenging thing, on top of not being able to go to the restaurants I like, not being able to go to the movie theater and watch all the anime movies that I like, not even being able to go to Comic-Con or go to all the events and things that I want to go to. Because a lot of that is who made me, especially when I was in Japan. And losing that, I don't want to say it was crushing to my identity, but it definitely has made me think a lot about who I am as a person, which is why the reverse culture shock and the reintegration has been so challenging for me. And to be perfectly honest, I haven't really felt anything that was liberating. The only thing that was liberating in the sense was I got to do what I wanted to do now. I founded my company, I'm working on this thing with my friend, but I find myself with regrets. I don't know if they're valid, most likely they're not, but I think every day about, did I make the right choice? Did I find what was best for me? In that sense, I've been trying to figure out how much of that is true and how much real weight I should put into that. But for some of you, it might be different. For a lot of you, Japan has a different meaning, and your life on JET had a different meaning and a different weight than it had for me. So your mileage will vary on that. For me specifically, the liberating feeling that I had in terms of what I could do also had its own drawbacks. Kind of weird paradox, doing the ALT job and the limitations it had actually freed up a lot of mental and creative capacity for me to do a lot of other things that I wanted to do when I was in Japan. And because it was such a regimented job with very set times, it was very easy for me to create predictable areas to work from. Now, since everything is open, it's been much harder to do that. That's not necessarily good or bad, it's something that I've been adjusting to and have been adjusting to, and I'm still working at it. It's something that you might experience as well. The work culture here is different. In some ways it's good, in some ways it's bad, in some ways it's better, in some ways it's worse. And you might be surprised because some things you may have taken for granted while being in Japan or you didn't even think about were a thing will have an effect on you. And that's what I've noticed with me. Some things that I thought I didn't like when I was in Japan, I came back here and I found that the opposite of that was even worse. That's something to be on the lookout for and something to be prepared for, because I wasn't as prepared for it, and it has also helped contribute to the difficulty in reintegrating back. In many ways, I kind of feel like I don't want to integrate back because of how much pressure it is. And that's something that I want to say to you as a warning and something to give you as a heads up, in a sense, to be like, okay, this is something to be aware of. Those are the two areas in terms of leaving the JET program.